The Women's Fund for Scotland is Scotland's only dedicated fund for women and girls. I'm Susan Morrison, and this is our podcast where we talk to inspiring women improving the lives of those women and girls today. In this episode, Suzanne from Paws for Progress introduces us to the Amabassadogs. You are very much a dog lady, I would say. Mm-hmm. I'm more of a cat girl, but never mind. We'll find common ground.
I'm here for the cats as well.
And your fabulous outfit, Suzanne, is called, let me just get this right, Paws for Progress.
Yes, that's right.
A fabulous name. Just tell us what you do.
Yeah, so at Paws for Progress, we're a community interest company based in Scotland. We work all across central Scotland and beyond, and our speciality is providing dog-assisted learning programs that help both the people and the dogs involved. So we work in prisons, we work in local schools, we work across the community, and at the heart of all of our services, we're facilitating chances for people and dogs to come together, learn together, grow together, and work on their own personal development and work towards a positive future together. And we started working back in 2011 was where we originated. So we set up the UK's first prison-based rescue dog training programme at Pullman Prison. And it's just gone from strength to strength from there. Like, we really see the benefits for both the young people and the dogs. And we've just grown and adapted and learned. And we're now working with lots of different groups, including women in custody, which is really exciting. We see loads of benefits for them there. But yeah, our real goal is making sure that people and dogs both have access to learning and development opportunities that are going to help them have a better future. That's at the core of everything that we're doing.
So one thing you said that kind of made my eyes widen, Suzanne, is incarcerated women. That seems really quite kind of niche. How did you get involved in that?
Yeah, so we got involved in that because originally that's how we originated, was working in custody, initially with young people. So that was male young people in custody at Pullman. But we quickly saw the benefits of the approach that we were taking. So it's very trauma informed, it's very person centered. We very much listen to the people that we're working with and adapt things to support them and to meet their needs and their interests in that moment. And we realized that this was a really flexible model that could be really beneficial to other people. And it's such a flexible, no two programs look the same, no two sessions look the same. So we could really see how it would be beneficial for women too. So women in custody, a lot of them are really needing some help with supporting their mental health. Many of them are very, very vulnerable. So the kind of service that we're providing just lent itself really, really well to supporting them. We started our programs back in 2011, and it was 2016 when we started working with women in custody. So that was when they were over in Cornton Vale in Stirling. So we set up a program there, which was very, very fluid and flexible. We worked with the women in the mental health unit there and would take dogs in and provide opportunities for them to get that feel-good benefit of being with the dogs and being able to speak to us and be supported by us and build, improve their well-being and improve their confidence. And it just went from there. When the women would then move to Pullman Prison, that's when we really started expanding what we were offering. We offer a whole range from drop-in sessions to one-to-one programs where we work individually with women who have got really high needs and need extra support, and we help build them up so they can then start joining small groups and go on to work in a really supportive group environment where they can then go on to attend short programs over multiple weeks. And we've got some women who end up becoming advanced students with us and going on to work with us over many months and years and really build up quite advanced skills in their dog training and also in how they support other women too, which is really, really wonderful to see.
Do you think the caring element is what brings out the best in these women when the dogs come in?
Yes, it definitely plays a factor. It's really nurturing the work that we were doing with the dogs and the women that were doing with the dogs, and having someone to care for and someone who also cares for you back unconditionally, is happy to see you in that moment, is just wonderful for them. And we really see incredible care that the women have for each other as well. So something which is really wonderful to see is you might get people who initially are really struggling to be in a group setting at all, and they have to come down individually on their own to help really support them towards that goal. And you see over the weeks and months that through caring for the dogs, they start to really care for the other people that are taking part in the services as well. And you might go from having someone who had, was initially coming down on their own to a few months later, it's wonderful seeing them welcoming the new women into the room who are just starting the program, putting them at ease, helping them feel at home, and introducing the dogs, telling them all about the dogs' likes and dislikes and their interests, and just to see that transformation of how the women are then caring for each other and getting so much out of that. It's definitely the mutual two-way care there, which is really powerful for them. And it's a lot of nurturing and a lot of that care.
Yeah, there is something unconditional about the way a dog looks at you. It's sort of like, I love you, just you. Whereas if you walk into the house and you're a cat owner, or should I say owned by cats, they just look at you going, oh, you're back, are you? So, in terms of the Women's Fund for Scotland, though, I understand you've got funding from the Women's Fund. What was that for? What did it help you do?
Yeah, so that funding has been absolutely fantastic for helping us work towards the goals we have for helping women in custody. And so that's focusing on our programmes at Polmont. And we've got multi-year funding from the Women's Fund, which is incredible because that multi-year funding is really what helps to provide the stability that we need to ensure that the service is secure and is going to keep running. And it means that we can keep evolving it and making sure that we're really meeting the needs of the women in custody there. For the women, they really want to see the service lasting. They want to know that other women are going to benefit from it in the future. So for, helping meet what they hope for the service for the future, as well as what we're hoping for it, this multi-year funding is absolutely incredible. So we're working around 30 women a year, thanks to this funding at Polmont.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we're busy.
That's a remarkably high percentage of the female prison population as it is. So that's quite a workload for you.
It is. It's incredibly rewarding. We are busy, but we flex what we do in there. So that'll be a mixture. We'll do a session a week, but it'll be a mixture of programs where groups of women come up to work with us. We might also do drop-in sessions, or we might go down to the accommodation blocks and do hall visits down there. We do one-to-one sessions down in the accommodation as well sometimes. If, coming up to a different section of the prison where our workshop is, that can be a huge challenge for some people, especially if they're feeling quite isolated. So we'll go to them and, build that relationship with them, help them build the relationship with the dogs, and then progress to them being able to come up to our designated workshop.
You're slightly unusual, especially in this program that you're talking about with incarcerated women, because organisations that are working with women in the outside world their client base has to be attracted to them, or they have to find them, but your client base is there. But how do the incarcerated women join the program? Is it open to all of them, or?
Yeah, we try and make it as open as possible because the service is flexible. We can adapt it to meet their needs. So if they're enthusiastic about coming down, then we will do our absolute best to accommodate and fit them in. So it's a bit of a mixture. So we'll get some referrals where our colleagues at Scottish Prison Service might recognise that there's a woman who they think would really benefit. So they might suggest to her that she signs up, and might get recommended through that way. The Scottish Prison Service also have their inclusion service, who are supporting some of the most vulnerable people in there. So quite often we work in partnership with them to bring women in who would really benefit. And we get referrals from other areas of the prison as well, such as other organisations providing mental health support. But the people who really are the best at spreading the word and helping us to get new recruits are the women themselves. They are incredible about going back, chatting about what we're doing. Like, they're so passionate about helping other people access it. So they're doing a lot to promote the service and recruit.
So you see, this is fascinating because you'll be able to see a change in these women because you're going in and they are there, so that you'll be able to watch how they develop and grow as the project goes on.
Yes, we do. Especially in terms of how they're feeling about themselves, I would say, how they feel with their own mental health, but how good, how their mood is really improves, and we see them start to recognize that they've got something to offer. So for a lot of them, they may not feel that way, but through coming up and the way that we're really, all of the time we spend with them is focused on looking at what their strengths are and helping them build on those and recognize them for themselves. We see them start to recognize that and that is really, really powerful and empowering for them. In addition to, helping with their well-being, we find that it really helps to reduce the stress that they're under and feelings of isolation, because they can come up and they connect with our team, they connect with the dogs who are in there, they connect with the other women, they build better relationships with the prison service staff as well who are there working with us, and they feel that they're part of something meaningful, which is absolutely huge for them. We help them feel valued and cared for, and then they go on to do that for others too. And we're all about celebrating individual differences at Paws for Progress, whether that is celebrating the individual personalities of the dogs or celebrating the individual personalities of the people there. And just being able to come down and be yourself and not be judged for that, I think, is very powerful for them. We also see them go on to, they might initially build their confidence with us, but then that gives them the belief in themselves to go on and start engaging in other activities within the prison. So they might start going along to education sessions with Fife College. They tend to do they'll do projects which are based around the dogs, even when they're, doing work outside of our sessions. So they might be doing an English qualification, which is writing about their experience with the dogs, or they might be working towards an art qualification where the focus of their portrait they're doing is a dog, or their dog at home, or one of the dogs that they've worked with here. So it's really building those skills which are transferable, and they can go on to be more engaged in other activities in the prison, and it really sets them up long term for success when they eventually go back to the community as well.
You change them within the prison environment, but then you're seeing the change maintained outside.
Yes, it really varies between different women what stage on their journey they come to us. So it's really variable how long they're going to be in custody for, how they're feeling in themselves, what they're able to cope with engaging with. And so that varies a huge amount. But our first and foremost goal there is focusing on improving their well-being right now, and then looking at how we can help them work towards those skills and qualifications, which is then going to really set them up long term once they're back in the community. But it's wonderful that we have lots of women who want to stay in touch with us once they've got out, which is really hard. It's just lovely. And that's fantastic because we've got quite a few good contacts in the community. We've built up a real network of other organisations who are open to supporting the people that we've worked with. So that's lots of animal care organisations, maybe doggy daycare, dog training. So there's opportunities for going on to do, placements and even leading to paid employment in the sector, which is really exciting.
It's amazing that you're working with these other organisations. I mean, if you had any advice for working with women in a very challenging environment, which is what you're doing, I mean, have you got any advice that you would give? I mean, so far, it would seem to me that openness would seem to be the key.
You're so right. Like you say, they are going through some of the most challenging periods of their lives at the point that they start accessing our service and working with us. So, yeah, being really open, I think. So, for really focusing on meeting the people that you're working with wherever they are in their journey, and being flexible, being able to adapt is so important, and flexing and adapting in a way which is really meaningful to the women themselves, and listening to them, because ultimately their voices are the ones that are really, really important to us, and we very much try and see ourselves as being there to learn from them, and then to be able to, through learning from them, shape the services and shape the sessions to meet their needs. So that can be from, when they come up on the day, we'll be listening to them and seeing what mood they're in, what dogs they want to work with, what kind of activities they want to work on. So really just embedding that user-led approach within the service. And it's not a case of just using the buzzwords and saying we're user-led and trauma-informed. It's really making that at the heart of your service and building on strengths and empowering the women that you're working with to be able to shape their future and shape their time working with us and beyond. I think partnering with other organisations as well is so key. We really, really work in partnership very closely with lots of different organisations. For this project with the women, it's very much working closely with the Scottish Prison Service and Fife College and the other organisations working at the prison. But it really means you can complement and support the work that you're doing and make the impact that you can have even more powerful by working together. I think being authentic and just being genuine and caring and building those supportive relationships with the women is absolutely key. Like you're saying, being open.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the amount of times you use the word flexible.
Yes.
Which I think is wonderful because, yeah, I've heard a lot of buzzwords recently, and a lot of people say, this is what we do and this is how we do it. And it's like, well, only if the other person got the memo. Because,
Yeah.
but you've got this flexibility, and also fascinated by the amount of times you've mentioned that you listen to the women that you work with, even the ones who've left and who get in touch with you. So it's like a continuous feedback loop, isn't it?
It really, really is. And that's, I think that's key to why we've been able to adapt the service to be able to support, because we work with lots of different young people work in different circumstances in different locations, and we work with people who are really going through the hardest time of their lives and facing a lot of challenges. And I think the reasons we've been able to adapt so effectively has been because we are constantly learning from the people that we support, and we really recognise how important that is. And the services have changed hugely over the years. And even, it's all about having a plan A to Z as well within each session.
Yeah, I mean, because Pause for Progress has been going since 2011, did you say?
Yes, that's right. So we started out as a PhD project, actually.
As a what?
A PhD project, yeah.
Good heavens.
I know. So it was, there were lots of prison-based rescue dog training programs overseas, but there wasn't anything in the UK. So the project was set up to, see how this could work in a UK setting. And it was hugely successful, which is why we then looked at how to keep this going, keep the momentum going beyond the PhD period, and formed as a community interest company in 2014. And we've just gone from there.
Whose PhD? Was it your PhD?
No, Dr. Rebecca Leonardi, my colleague, so she's our founder and our development manager, and she leads the work that we're doing with the women in custody.
You see, I have heard of this, but I have only ever heard of it in relation to men in custody, and in places like the United States of America, in some really tough prisons. And I haven't encountered it before with women, incarcerated women. And now that I look at it, I think, why did nobody think of this?
It makes so much sense. And doing it in a way that benefits the people and the dogs involved is really important for us. So the dogs that we mostly work with through our services, whether that's in prisons or in the community, the staff dogs who live with our staff members, they're part of our family, but they enjoy coming along with us to meet new people and come and be involved in services. So they call them our Amabassadogs.
Oh,
So they're dogs who thrive on, new places, new people, getting to support people as well. They really enjoy coming and meeting people, and you get some beautiful interactions between them and the women and the young people that we're working with.
I had to write that down. Amabassadogs. Having the Women's Fund for Scotland, not just as a funder, but beside you, do you find that? Did you find that beneficial in other ways? For example, the networking opportunities and support opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had a wonderful visit from the Women's Fund Scotland recently, where they came in to see the project in action and meet the women. And the women got so much out of it. Having people come in and be interested in them and their opinions and how they're finding it is really empowering and affirming for them. So they really enjoyed having the visitors in. But I think for us, a really big benefit of the work that the Women's Fund for Scotland are doing is helping with pushing forward awareness of the needs of women and helping to encourage that collaboration and provide that platform for pushing this forward and driving some change, because changing the landscape of the challenges that women are facing is a huge job. So a lot of the women that we're working with in custody, they often have poor mental health, often they're victims of violence. They've ended up in custody a lot of the time due to, in part, there being a lack of support and their needs not being met in the community. Unemployment comes into play, substance use problems come into play, and we really need to address those core issues to be able to make a difference long term. So having an organisation who's pushing forward and raising awareness of things and bringing together organisations to collaborate and be able to make that change is so, so important, because it's not something that anyone can do on their own.
No, it needs the support of a network and a good dog.
And a good dog or two.
The need for your service isn't going to go away anytime in the near future, is it?
It's really not, and there's a huge, huge demand for the service. There's more demand than we can meet. So that's a challenge that we're facing. How can we have the biggest impact without stretching ourselves too thin and diluting the quality of the services that we can provide and the support we can provide? But I think, when we're looking forward at how we can change that. We're very much looking at how can we help with raising awareness of the challenges that women are facing and raising awareness of the work we're doing to support that and sharing our learning.
What can I say? One day I hope to meet the Amabassadogs.
Yes.
Which, let's be honest, is a Marvel franchise just waiting to happen.
Oh, I like it. We've got a few superheroes on our team of Amabassadogs who'd love that.
The Amabassadogs, right? Okay, I'll get that. I'm seeing Netflix already on the horizon.
Yeah. If I can pitch for Ambassador Karma, she knows how to skateboard. She'd be fantastic at that.
Totally, Karma's the girl. That's what we need. Excellent.
She's there for it.
A brilliant project, Suzanne. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's great.
Thank you for joining us and listening to this story. I hope you've been inspired. And if you would like to support the Women's Fund for Scotland, search for us online and listen out for our other podcast episodes.